So, I have a question for you. How has school changed since you were here?
Since I was here as a student?
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's more to it. But it had just been built. And my class was the first class to come in here and actually walk on the floors and sit in the desk and do all that stuff for the last part of our 8th grade. What it was, Clarksville had no room for 8th graders. They filled up the schools. And when we got signed in, there was no place for us. My first part of my 8th grade, we met down at First Baptist Church, and they had a discussion on what are we going to do with all these children. And so we started out, let me see where I did start out. I went to Greenwood, and then we went to, they got too full of that, and they shuffled the 8th graders out to Howell School. And so we went over to Howell School a while. Then they decided that was not big enough for us, so they sent us to Greenwood. You know where Greenwood School is?
No, ma'am.
Well, it's over there on Greenwood Avenue. It's been many schools, but I was in the elementary school, and then they got too much for us there. We were just tearing this town up, I guess. And there was an old house next door to the school, and I mean falling apart. And they assigned us to that. Mr. Potts was a janitor, and he went over there and helped us clean up, and it was a wreck. We painted it. We built all kinds of stuff. The floors would fall through when you walked through. They kept us there long enough for more school to finish it and rebuilt that year. And I spent the last part of my 8th grade at Moore School. And what really, I remember thinking, what I really was excited about, even though I was an 8th grader, when I was a little girl, my mother and daddy used to bring me over to the park and swing. And I mean, one of those little swings, you hold the little things up here, you know, I could just barely sit up in it. That's how I started out in this area.
Now, what was your favorite subject as you're talking about school?
I liked a lot. I guess really anything to do with writing and English and things like that. Mm-hmm.
So, as you liked reading and writing, how did that change when you were out of school, out of Moore?
Well, it just shoved me on to the next school. I never did quit going to school. I kept on till I graduated from Austin Peay. I don't guess I ever had a time that I didn't have a break.
So did you like your principal here?
You know, I do this. I asked yesterday, our class met together. And people were telling me all the things. They said, well, you remember so-and-so? And yeah, and I said, who was the principal? Nobody could remember who the principal was here then. I guess we had one. But I've always liked that. I've always said didn't have any problem with principals. I liked principals. I used to work in the office with them some.
So what was your favorite teacher and why?
Well, I'll tell you what. As you know, I had quite a few teachers. But there was a lady here, and her sister was here too, Miss Josephine Pollard. And her sister was here, Miss Sadie. Now, I like Miss Sadie too. Miss Sadie was very prim and proper, and everything was just right down the line. But Miss Josephine kind of bent the rules a little bit. And we learned more stuff. We really had a lot of fun. And I think that's probably one of the years that more people learned things. I know she took us to Mammoth Cave. Have you ever been to Mammoth Cave? We went to Mammoth Cave. Did they turn all the lights out on you? Mm-hmm. They did us too. And so I thought, boy, that was the neatest thing. I never knew anybody went to school and got to go to Mammoth Cave. But I think maybe those two sisters together. In fact, I went to see them after I was quite a bit older. And I went to see them, and they got out some things, and they got out a book and had some work in it that I had done and some of my class had done. And it was really neat. And I had lunch with some of those same people yesterday. And we still like each other.
Did you like coming to school every day?
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed school. I was an only child for 8 years in my home, and so I enjoyed going to school.
So what did you do with your friends when you had free time?
We didn't have any free time at school, I don't think. I tell you what, we used to play rock school. Do you know what rock school is?
No.
Okay. We didn't have much. We had to invent. Did you know how to play The Farm in the Dell? You didn't know how to play that. See, we didn't have the things y'all had. But anyway, we just did. They usually told us what we were going to play at recess, and that's what we did. Now, I also took dancing and music, but that your parents had to do that, had to arrange for that and pay for that. It wasn't, the school didn't do that, but you did that at what would be your recess that day. I took dancing for several years, and my mother made the costumes for the plays and the things we had.
That's cool. What's your favorite memory about being a student here?
I remember it was nice to be out of that old dirty house that we were in, and I'd never been in a school. I went to Howell School, and it was an old school. One of the floors fell in one time while we were there, but it wasn't my class. But I was in a new school. The windows were clean, and we had chairs for everybody, and the floors were nice. And it just was nice. A nice school. I liked it.
Did you have any after-school clubs or clubs during the day?
Oh, no, we had to do our own thing, like if I said for music and all, and then we had Girl Scouts and Brownies. I did Brownies and Girl Scouts.
Well, is there anything else you want to tell us about your school here?
I can remember that I don't remember my second grade teacher. I do not know who there's a total blank, but I remembered all these others, and one of them I remember, her name was Miss Gilbert, Mary Gilbert. She's General Gilbert's mother, and she taught us in the 4th grade, and we loved her. She was really good, and when we came back to school the next year, we had a surprise. She had asked to let her 4th grade be moved up for the 5th grade, and I got to have her 2 years in a row, and she let us listen to the when they have the ball games and the things. She'd bring a radio, and we'd listen to the ball games. We had a good time. It was nice.
That reminds me of in 3rd and 4th, our teacher moved up with us when we were in 3rd to go up with 4th with us.
That's nice when they do that, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have an understanding of whose teacher you have.
Yeah. I had lunch yesterday, and I said, keep bringing this up, I had lunch with a fellow, and he was in my room then. And I remember we used to go to the board. You have to go to the board and work arithmetic and things on the board and spell it. Oh, y'all have computers, don't you? Well, we used to do that, and he would always get up beside me, and then while we were doing it, he'd scrape his fingernails down the blackboard, and I'd go, ooh. And when I saw him the other day, I thought, oh, I hope he doesn't find a blackboard in here today. But he's still a good friend.
Was there anything else?
Used to walk home. My daddy would drop me off as he went to work in the mornings, and then there were a bunch of us would walk home. And the Balthrop's Grocery hadn't been here in a long time. Some of you may remember it over across from Smith School. Well, that was when Smith School was a field over there, and there was no swimming pool over there. And we would stop at Balthrop's Grocery, and our daddies would give us bus money to ride home. And we would save our bus money and buy us a Coke on the way home. We thought that was really big stuff.
Now, here's a question that I really need to ask you. Did you know the Tales of Mr. Moore?
The Tales of Mr. Moore?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay, so there's always these tales that his wife murdered him, and he lives and haunts the school.
Is that what that was?
Mm.
I didn't know that. Nobody ever told us that. They probably thought we were scaredy cats. we go on. Well, I'm glad I've learned. Next time we have lunch, I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna say, I got something to tell you about the school we went to.
Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having me here. I can't think of a sweeter young lady.